Welcome to the Four Rooms podcast, where we explore the four rooms of entrepreneurship: health, wealth, scale, and relationships. Each episode is dedicated to opening new doors and uncovering insights that empower you to design your entrepreneurial journey to be both lucrative and fulfilling. And now, your hosts, Amber Spears and Brett Kaufman.
Welcome to the Four Rooms podcast, where I'm hanging out with my dear friend and mentor and the therapist and co-founder of Shipoffers, which is a fulfillment company that can ship your products anywhere in the world, manufacture supplements. You also do books. You do like so many things. We've been in each other's orbit for like 7 years, but we became really good friends in 2020 after my partner died by suicide, and you just stepped up and didn't really know me very well, but you just insisted that I talk to you every day at 10 a.m. And I really think that consistency and kindness really got me through one of the darkest periods of my life. So I'm super grateful for you, and I love you.
All right. I've admired you for a long time. So then getting to see you kind of work the room and then stage, I got to see the persona you could show to the world. And then what I noticed was that person wasn't shining as bright as possible. So all I did was just literally just call you out and just say, hey, you don't need to know me. I'm just somebody who's been watching you for a while. I'd love to be support for you. And then you said yes. And that's normally what has to happen, because a lot of people want to give help.
Yeah, I struggle with that still. I think,
I think it's a common thing being an entrepreneur. I mean, it's one of the biggest things that I've had to learn about myself is, I'm here at your mastermind and I don't sit in the front chair. I didn't do that in school. I always kind of sat back because of observation. I'm always kind of looking around and seeing what's going on. Am I safe? I'm insecure. And I don't feel like I'm not here, but I still have old habits that still want to run. And so what I have to do is like, you're good. Just relax. You'll be okay. The people here are not here to hurt you. They're here to help you. And that's hard in this day, and age, is that a lot of things that are going on in the world, people have to remind themselves, like, it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to say, I'm uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. Hey, can we go grab lunch? Can we work together? Can you, sit with me? I'm just having a hard time breathing. And you know what, people?
It's amazing how people are so like loving and giving. I mean, I think for me with you, I really think it was God, because, when Jordan died, like that's when I really like stress tested, I think my industry relationship so much, because I couldn't keep the agency running at that level. Like we couldn't do a lot of things because a lot of it was dependent on me, and things that I was doing. Alana, it's like she does the operation stuff, right? So, and with Brett, like it was a whole disaster. My other business partner at the time, and I had a lot of support. A lot of people wanted to help me. If you came to my house after she died, you could barely walk through the door because there's balloons, there's flowers, there's food, there's blankets, there's like, you name it. Like I had people shipping me stuff from New York, matzo ball soup and like all kinds of stuff. It was so lovely, and I could barely like receive it. I could barely, honestly, I want to kill myself. So I could barely be there.
All that stuff is what our knee-jerk reaction is. Oh, and rely somebody, let's send flowers.
Right.
Let's send a card. Let's send food. Let's do this. Right. But it's not that day.
Yeah.
It's the weeks, months, and years later that,
I tell people that all the time. I'm like, hey, listen. Well, first of all, I thought I really understood what it was like to be there for someone when someone they loved died, because I would do the same thing, right? I would send the flowers, the cards. I would text them, check in on them, call them, and I really felt like I was there for them. But what I realized after she died is, and I think modeling off of how you showed up for me too, because it was really not really like, oh, how can I help you? It was more like, hey, I noticed that you're not doing as well as I could. You just saw me on a live. That's so crazy. You saw me on a live video that I did, and you reached out and said, like, I noticed you don't like feel quite the same. Like, you don't know me very well, but I see you all the time. I know we've talked to each other, and like, I just want to talk to you every day at 10 a.m. And to me, like when that happened, I was like, what the is this guy doing who's so busy? No, he runs a really big company. I barely know him. But like there was a pull in my heart from God, because I can tell you had been through like some dark times. And I think that made me feel comfortable enough to say like, okay, I'll do it. And like you were so consistent. Like every day, I think for a straight year or longer, I talked to you, no matter where you were in the world. Like you'd be in Italy, you could be in Netherlands, you could be anywhere, and I'd still talk to you at that same time. It was that like consistency that I really needed. I'm really grateful. And like now I know much better, both because I have the experience of like losing somebody like that, and also having you as a model for how I can show up differently for other people. And I tell them, like, listen, the first week's month, everyone's gonna be checking in on you. Like, I will do that too. But I think what I've learned is, like, after 6 months, after someone's been gone, it's like, well, the instinct is a lot of people don't even want to bring that person up anymore. Right. And it's like, after a year, it's almost like no one wants to talk about it. They want to tiptoe because they don't want to bring it up. They feel like, oh, if I bring it up, then I'm stirring up sadness. And it's like, the reality is that if you lost someone you love, there's a part of you that wants to talk about them. There's a part of you that, like, that's how they live on through you, right?
The only other person we got at least.
Totally. That's it. And so it's
the
like
memories. And like when I lost my mom 2 years ago, it's like I lost my coach, my mentor, the lady who like got me into recovery and in the rooms, who encouraged me to try things I didn't want to, right? And so now that person's gone. Yeah. But what I do every day is try to share her lessons.
And you mentor
every day. Like, I just recorded a whole bunch of content recently, and I'm like, there was a video where I'm like talking about my mom and how she'd walk up to a roulette table and like the lucky lady, and she'd be dancing. And by the end of the night, everybody know about her kids, her grandkids, like what they're up to. She know everybody her first name. She convinced everybody to, put money on 20 where everybody was, no, I'm not doing it. And my mom's memory is only gone if I don't share it every single day. So I share about my mom, because my mom's impact is not just a moment in time, it's a lifetime. So when, lost Jordan's gone here. But like everything that you learned and did, and the good times and the bad times, that's all part of who you are.
Yeah.
Right. So like, why shut that off and like try to eliminate that from your world? And you can help by helping others to go through it and model what that grief looks like and how you were able to get through it with support, but also how you struggle, because it's the truth. Like when I tried to attempt suicide, a lot of people didn't know how bad it was for me. All they could see is like this guy's got it all figured out. I'm like, even to this day. But when I got talked out off the ledge and somebody said, your life has meaning and purpose, but how you're living it right now doesn't. So I had to really look at what is that. And then that's where I pivoted. When I was separated from Amber, my wife, she said in therapy, she was like, I want the old Tony back. No, you don't want that. You want the one that hasn't been invented yet, the one who hasn't even been created. And so you were talking about God. I just always said it's good orderly direction. And so my model of what I've learned is I am convinced that service is my true gift to this world. So everything I've gone through, the good, the bad, and the ugly, that all I have left is to serve here and then serve in the kingdom. That's my belief. I work with people who are atheists and don't believe they're Buddhist or this or that. I said, hey, that's great. You all believe in something.
Right.
Let me believe what I believe. You believe what you believe. But why don't we help each other over here?
Yeah.
And so I just try to serve it.
Well, I think that's who you are, don't you? I mean, you've affected so many people that I know's lives in such a positive way, but I know there's countless others, because you've sponsored probably thousands of people by now after 25 years sober. And
I wish I got 15. I'm happy.
Still.
Getting 15, but
it's pretty incredible, dude. Like,
it's fun.
Yeah.
And I love the impact that I get to have. But, the one most important thing I don't give a lot of credit to is that I have a strong support system.
Yeah.
I've got a wife
who's amazing.
Who we
shout out to Amber, the other Amber
together. But we figured out that, we were struggling together, had some things that caused some issues, but we came together to realize that we were growing up. And when you grow up, you scrape your knees and you make some mistakes, but you can look at each other to the eyes and you feel like, hey, this is a person, we got 25 years coming up on 26. And we raised, 2 incredible kids. And she was there for both of my parents as they got older, and they're gone. And now I'm able to be of service and be there for my wife, who lost her sister, 7 years ago. And, so I look at her and I said the other day, I was holding her, I said, hey, babe, I'm here for you. It's like, let me help you. I know it's tough because I had a sister who helped me. You don't have anybody right now as your kids are aging. So I said, in that context, let me help you. Just tell me when you need me, because sometimes I want to do it myself. But let me know when you need me. And that's the other thing about helping people. I can't fix you. And I know that today. In my early days, I used to try to fix you. And I'm like, I'm here to support you.
Right.
And if you want to, work on that. And I love how it blends in with 4 rooms. I love how it blends in with, being a parent. I love how it relates to being a supportive husband or a brother. It is something that I can't do. I cannot come into your world. Your brain is attached to you and try to manipulate anything. What I try to do is say, hey, I love you. I'm going to accept you. I don't know everything that I can do, but just remember, I'll be there for you and tell me how I can help you.
Yeah.
And I think, I'm learning every single day. I don't have any, I really don't.
That makes me feel better. The owner of a 9-figure business with a 25-year successful marriage. If he hasn't had it figured out, then I'm feeling better.
And I think it's what it is that there's a lot of comparison and shame in the entrepreneurial world.
Yeah.
You know, like, oh, I see this business, you know, I'm like, dude, that business has a story. What's your story?
Yeah.
Let's work on, you know, focusing on what do you need to do? I'm like, well, I like this. I like a lot of things that a lot of competitors have or businesses have. I'm like, what do I want? And what do I want my legacy after I'm gone to be like? What's the thing I'm solving with my business? And then how do I, you know, remove any of the obstacles to like send my focus and fit into it? I like the old saying, money making activities. What am I doing today? Like, what problem am I solving? Who am I helping? And how am I putting that product and service into people? That's it. And if it becomes a distraction and it becomes like a part-time hobby over here on the side, then I realize I got off my mission and I have to have a paradigm shift and I need to get back on. And that's why it's important for me, if I saw something with you, is that I'm good today at receiving. Hey, I see you're over here dilly-dallying with this little thing and it ain't making no money. It's costing us a lot of time. How do I get you back? I need you. And so my business partner, Doug, well, you know, he'll tell me from time to time, hey, pivot. And it's really good. And he does it in a really gentle way, but it's super helpful. ADHD is a real deal for me. So easy for me to get lost in the weeds. But when you say, hey, let's go from the street level, which you're currently focusing on.
Yeah.
You can only see what's in front of you. Let's get you to the helicopter view so you can see a little bit of the bigger picture. And, you know, you can see what's kind of going on. But let's get you to like that 30,000 foot view and say, do you know where you're going? Because I can be dilly-dallying with this little part-time deal. And I don't really have an end game. I just like it. It's fun. And, you know, I always say you want to have something to play with in your life. And then, oh, shoot, I'm like way over here and we were headed here. Thanks for getting me back on. And that's like having somebody in your corner who will call you out on your stuff.
You need that. Everyone does. I'm really curious. And one of the things I want to ask you about is like you've had a 25-year business partnership that has.
I mean, it's like we're in 20 and you're going into 24. Yeah.
Right. So with one of your best friends, which is very rare in this industry. I've had 3 failed business partnerships.
Where you have 3 less.
3 less. Well, I'm not a failure. They're not a failure. The partnership failed, right? And like, I'm always very curious digging under the hood of how you've made that work for so long. And, you know, also going into 26 years of marriage, I know that there was a period of separation and all this other stuff. But like, you guys are so happy, dude. Like, it's so great being around you guys because you're still super in love. You guys have so much fun together. And like, it's so beautiful to watch you guys be in a relationship. So I know you've been through some shit and I'm sure you will have more things than you currently have things as every relationship does. But it's just really inspiring to see that longevity is like something that I'm really like wanting to know more about. Like, how do you have those relationships that still work and function and grow at such a high level? Like what are some ways that you do that?
I think there are 2 great questions. I'm going to try to unpack the first one, which is like a successful business career partnership. There was 3 at one time and there's 2. And we were all great friends growing up. So I had to learn some stuff between how I handled that and what I could have done differently and maybe some areas that I could
like
explaining something.
You share?
Yeah. I mean,
you don't have to get too in the weeds, but what you want.
I know myself a little bit in the conversations, but what I've learned through it all is that there's never anything I truly, unless there's like infidelity, if there's like murder, if there's like really horrible shit that you can't get through.
Right.
I think most things can be resolved. Maybe not to the point where you're going to be a happy person and everything will work great, but you come to a place where you're like, okay, I've outgrown this, but I don't hate you. I don't even resent you anymore. It's just time for us to move on. And I use it as everything that I go through in my life is just, Jim Rohn perfectly quoted it for me. It has helped me every single day of my life since I learned it. It says, you know, life is nothing more than difficulties mixed with opportunities. So every time there's a difficulty, I ask myself, what's the opportunity? And every time there's an opportunity, I say, so what difficulties are going to come up that I need to remember that I already know how to navigate? So business, there's been like 2 arguments in my 20, almost 4-year relationship with my business partner, Doug, that we've had in both of them. So it's really about just figuring out who to partner with and what are they really good at? And then trust, and trust that they're going to do what they say and you're going to do what you say. Doug got married a couple of years ago and he asked me to officiate the wedding. That was pretty cool.
It's awesome.
I'm an ordained minister, but I was like, okay, I've got 3, weddings under my belt. And like, it was cool because I know Doug and I are close. I lived with him for a period of time when I was growing up, but like Amber came to me one day and, it's like, just Doug, like really trusts you and loves you and appreciates you. And, it's like a huge opportunity for him. And I knew those things, but I never really heard those things, right? Like in my heart. So what I remind myself is, how can I serve when I go into the office? Not just myself and the team, but how can I serve Doug? Like, how can I show up for Doug? What is Doug not good at that maybe I can offer support on, and vice versa? Doug and I we already touched base today. We check in every single day. We have for probably as long as I remember, every single day, just check, what's up? What do you need? How's it going? How's this? Even when I'm gone, even when he's gone, always. And it's just like, it's kind of like he's my brother and we're going to have disagreements, but I'm not like going to disband him and like say, hey, move on. So I've learned that in relationships, I have to ask myself, do I want to be the solution or the problem? So I try to be the solution. And if I need help, I'll ask him. I've literally gone in, I said, dude, I'm struggling. Like when I had a lot of crap happen in my life, the hardest thing was me to say is like, dude, I screwed up. I spent all my money. I'm separated from my wife and, totally an alcoholic and an addict and I need help. And it wasn't like, get out of my office, get out of the company. It was like, how can I support you? And so I have enough people in my life know how I show up and they model back for me so I can receive. And then in the relationship with my wife, very similar. There was a long time that I was selfish. I was self-centered. The relationship was about me, look at me, this and that. And, she had a business she was doing. She's a super talented interior designer. And she's so funny. She tells people she's retired because she only wants to work on one project, which is
your house.
And I'm like, that's like the Winchester Mystery House in San Jose, but shit's never going to be done. But what I've learned is that I knew Amber when she was like 18 years old. And, I'm like 24 at the time. And I'm like, we were kids. And, when you're young and you date, I liked her. I fell in love with her quick, got married quick, moved really fast. Kids came, making, a ton of money, losing a lot of money. And then she was looking over here at her, husband who's full of like, addiction issues and life issues. And she didn't run. I did.
Wow. That's powerful.
She was like, hey, how, I want to help you. And then she finally got counseling. I was like, you can't save him. You have to save yourself. And that has become what we help each other to understand is like, I'm here for you. I'm not leaving. So we had our issues. And the best word our pastor ever told us is like, remove divorce from the table. So many people, they say, this isn't working. I want out. Or I can't do this anymore. This is the same crap happening all the time. Why don't you create the marriage that you want? What do you want? Like, supposedly this is your best friend, the person you want to spend all your time with. I'm like, my wife and I talk like we just met each other last week. We're like, hey, I see you. I'm like, I'll be home early tomorrow. And so I just remind myself every single day, just tell the person in your life how much you love them, but don't tell them, show them.
Tell them and show them.
I tell them by showing them, and it comes across that way. What I don't want to say is, one of the books that's in my arsenal to finish is I love you, I'm sorry, and goodbye. It was all a lie because that was my life. And I want to make sure that I tell it because I want to help protect marriages and other things so that people have a roadmap on how to spot it because it's right there in front of them. But they're so oblivious that it would ever happen to them. So those are the things that I'm going to work on. But the reality with like my wife, I'm like, yeah, we just wake up and try to support each other. It's like, how do I become the best version of myself? Ask the person who's with me every single day, like what I could do to improve. She goes in my closet when I'm gone. So I always like wonder what the heck I'm walking into.
She's throwing out shirts she doesn't like of you.
I come back and the whole house is rearranged and it used to bother me because I was like, why? And now I've kind of learned like that's her love language.
Yeah.
It's just, that's what she knows she can help me with that I suck at. Like,
yeah,
I'll take one bottle and I need 2. Why? I don't know. I'm not probably going to finish the 1. I'll take 2 shirts out, 3 shirts out. I only wear 1 and then I just drop them on the floor. And then I don't do it because I think she'll pick it up. I just do it because it's pure habit. So I'm learning a lot as I grow. That's why I say every single day is a new day. I don't talk about tomorrow today. I only live in the moment recording this podcast with you. I don't know. My phone's over there. I don't have a watch on that's going to alert me. So I just try to be as present with the people in my life. So when Doug calls, I try to focus on Doug. When you call, I try to focus on you. When my wife calls, I just try to like focus on her. And I think that's been the big thing, is removing all the distractions and really truly design your life and your business and what you're after and what you want. And what are you willing to, you have to give up something to get what you want.
Right.
Something you're going to like the cool thing about watching you create this is like, I spent time sitting on my couch and I knew you were sitting on your couch several years back and you were just dreaming. And I was like, all right, let's keep dreaming. Like, what do you want? How do you want to create forwards? And what are the things that you want? All this stuff that's happening is because you started creating it in your head and you started sharing it with the world. A lot of people don't do that. A lot of people assume that I know what you're thinking and you know what I'm thinking. And that's why with Doug, I say, hey, how can I get better? Amber, what do you need that I'm not doing? And it's like, how can I show up for you is what I ask you all the time. Like, what do you need? I'll come to Atlanta if you need some help and you're not feeling great. I'll come and help. Like, what do you need? I don't want to do all these things.
Yeah.
But I've learned that if I stay in service, I will prevent myself from doing a drug or a drink today. And it'll help me not do something stupid.
Mm.
So I know that if I just put services first, contribution and connection all come with it. I will be in a much better place. Sean Stevenson, who was my mentor and coach, passed away in 2019. He helped me because I had this old saying. It says, if I'm not in a good place, I need to go help somebody else. And he's like, no, why don't you get out of your head and into your heart and then go help that other person? I used to try to say, like, I'll just get out of my head and into yours. Help. And he really helped me to put the two together, is that I need help and I want to be there for others. And so why don't you spend most of your time doing what you love? And that's how I built a successful business and a successful marriage. I think how I show up for my friends. I'm not the best friend.
You're one of my best friends. You're an amazing friend. What? I'm not going to let you go past this podcast.
No.
It's not happening.
If you're looking to get even more from the Four Rooms podcast, you don't want to miss our exclusive newsletter. This is your personal invitation to join a community of like-minded entrepreneurs who are all about balancing health, wealth, scale, and relationships. Each week, we're going to bring you additional insights, tips, early announcements, and other information that we just can't fit into this podcast episode. Plus, it's a great way to keep the conversation going and ensure you never miss a beat in your entrepreneurial journey. It's easy to subscribe. Just visit fourroomsmastermind.com, scroll to the bottom of the page, and enter your email. That's fourroomsmastermind.com, and just enter your email. We promise to keep things light, keep your inbox interesting, informative, and fun. Join the Four Rooms community today, and let's grow together.
I'm just a person who knows what I want in a friend.
Yeah.
Be able to be a friend for others in that regard.
Yeah.
Keep shit simple. Life is already complex.
I know we've talked a lot about personal stuff, so I want to make sure we talk a little bit about business. But I think it pivots into
put stuff in a box and put a seal on it and send it away. I mean, what else? What do you guys know?
I'm like curious, like when you were talking earlier, you said that even instant oatmeal takes time.
Mm-hmm.
So that longevity that I've seen you have in the space in terms of like your integrity and reputation and all that has stayed. Like, I've never heard anybody speak a bad word about you. Like, not anybody that's worked with you, not anyone that knows you, not any of your clients. And I know that things get messed up sometimes. Like, even like with our sponsorship stuff, we're figuring stuff out, right? Sometimes people things up, right? So it's like, you forgive me and we figure it out, and like, but we're better than we were before with the repair. So I know that you don't have that reputation because things have always been perfect. I know that you have that reputation because you are willing to self-reflect. Like when you said you and Doug have had 2 fights your whole, career, and both of them been you. Like, that's very powerful self-awareness. And so I'm not saying that you've had a, perfect batting average where everything's been perfect, but I think you have that reputation because you are willing to take ownership of if your team or you mess up and you make it right. Like, I trust you to make it right. And that's why I love sending clients to you. So it's like, I'd love to kind of hear, like, we know so much about your values, and I see many of those values translating to your business. So I'm really curious if you could touch on, in that concept of even instant oatmeal takes time and how you've built this company, because your team culture is crazy, dude. Like, coming to your office and walking through, like, you guys have never been to a Shipoffers office if you're listening or watching probably, but it's pretty incredible. When you walk in, they have murals all over their walls that like walk everyone through the story of Shipoffers, how it started in a garage in California and how it's been built in this huge 9-figure business and the thousands of people that it helps. Like, it's pretty incredible to watch that. But then when you interact with every single member of your team, they're such delightful, hardworking, like people that are so bought into the mission. And that takes time. I know that takes time. It takes time to build culture. So I'm curious about that and your mindset around, how you've built it and what the next thing is for Shipoffers.
Perfect. I'm trying to build a $250 million business in the next 3 to 5 years. And with that comes, I can't do it on my own. I know I need help in people. I've got an amazing business partner. I've got amazing VPs. So 5 years ago, we didn't have a board. We didn't have any real you had leadership, but you didn't have identifiable leadership in each department. And so what we did is we said, what would we need to do to get to the next level, right? And I heard a lot of quotes over my life, the person who got you to 5 won't help you get it to 6. That's like a team member. Since won't get you to 7. And I've actually kind of said, well, I got people who started, folding boxes in the warehouse. They're now leading tech op teams, and he's a VP and he's got, 10 people below him, and his skills are immense, and he's all these degrees in education. So I learned that I need to find passionate people who have like the overall kind of skills that I'm looking for, and they fit the culture that I'm after. And then the rest, if they're teachable, right? Because I think for me, I always say, chase the win, study the lessons, and never give up. So I chase good people. I'm always studying the lessons that I'm learning from them, and are they really supporting? And then just never give up on people, because I think a lot of leaders go, sorry, Amber, it's just not working out. We're going to let you go. And I was like, well, did she ever have the right training, the right teaching? Was she really set up to succeed, or just kind of thrown into the mix and you hope it worked out? So part of our success at Shipoffers, and I think the things that we do really, really well, is that Doug and I trust our VPs. You were talking about a batting average. You call Josh today on the phone and say, what's on your desk? He's got Ted Williams, a famous Boston Red Sox baseball player. Batting average is one of the first things I ever gave him. And it's all the places in his sweet spot and where he's at, where he hit 315 here, 343 here, 323 here, and where he's at. And then know your zone of genius, where you're really, really good at. And all the things that are outside of that, you don't have to swing on your own. You have a batting coach? I'm right here. I'm not swinging for you. I'm helping you when you go up to the plate. You're in the game. I'm just a fan in the sitting there going, come on, dude, you can do this. I know you. Because Josh, literally, when he came on board to join our team, Josh just put a little desk on top of his lap, and he was just working. And I just literally mentored and coached, but I already knew his skill.
Yeah.
I already watched him on stage in front of thousands of people, coaching and teaching and helping. And I knew that dude, this would be somebody I'd love to team up with. So every person on my team, I found, I think one maybe I haven't found.
Wow. That's amazing. So you're just recruiting great people.
I try not to steal anything. I try to recruit everything. So Jamie Church, she used to manage a dentist's office. I used to go, and she would always call and go, are you coming in this month? I said, no, I don't want to do my teeth. Can we go next week or next month? And then one day she knew to call me, I think just in her heart, and Amber was always there to support her as well. She's like, hey, I think I want something else. I said, well, come tomorrow and just sit down with us, right? She didn't come in as a VP. She just came in as a role that I knew she was capable of doing, and then blossomed into this. My assistant, Courtney started, I placed an ad. I saw it in 2014, hire a rock star assistant. I saw it from LinkedIn. David Gonzalez knows the person or whatnot, but this ad literally said, do all this, get all these results. And I got 50 people said, you're a douche. You're go take this and go screw yourself. You'll never find anybody like that. And I found Courtney. Courtney saw it and saw hey, what it was basically how to get rid of all the distractions. Serve. She worked for maybe a year, and then she's dude, I need to leave. And I said, all right, cool. I said, hey, that's awesome. So she leaves, and I never stopped talking to her. And then maybe 2 years goes by, and she goes, can I come back? I'd like to come back. And then she came back, and she's been with us.
She's amazing. Jamie, everyone you've mentioned, Josh, they're all.
And then Sean has been with me 27 years. We've been collaborating. Nobody works for me. We work together. And I learned that was the best skill that I learned. No one's an employee. We're all team member. We're all on the SO team. Even the wives or the spouses of people, they're on the SO. team. So they're like significant offers.
Like I was wondering what the acronym was.
But it's like everybody's a part of our team. And so I think part of it all comes from once you build something you want to have fun at. And so our business, we make mistakes. I even tell my customers before you onboard, we're going to screw something up. I guarantee you, but it's how we fix it that will help show you what's possible.
The trust is made in the repair.
And, one member you have in your group, James Klein, he called me up like, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. And he goes, can I talk to you? I said, yeah, what do you got? He goes, I think it would be beneficial if you got some additional resources. Thank you for being observant enough to call me and then, tell me. He's like, da-da-da-da. And then we were having breakfast here. And he goes, man, I got to tell you, it's like your team is phenomenal. And I said, it just sometimes takes somebody on the outside. So we have blind spots. You have blind spots. I have blind spots. It's only a blind spot once. After that, it's a choice.
Damn.
And I didn't know exactly how to solve the problem. But what I realized is I'm like, okay, so I went to, like Jamie's team, for example. I said, I think you need some additional resources. And I got out of the way because Jamie's capable.
Right.
Mother of 3, happily married. I'm like, she's capable. Why do I need to micro? And so I don't micromanage anybody. I trust that you'll do it. And if you don't, we'll ask for help. And that's kind of like what we've done. And then Chris, who heads up our warehouse team, I mean, shoot, he's been here almost 22 years. He now has 3 headquarters to manage, 1 in the Netherlands and 2 in the US besides, the main office. And he has like 60, 70 plus people on his team. And I'm like, I don't go to him and go, hey, what are you doing? He'll tell me what he needs. And that's what his trust is really, really built. Like, why do you have these people on your team if you're not going to let them do what you hired for? And then we try to give education, whereas education's needed to help these people get to the next level, because I had coaches who saw potential in me. I didn't see potential in myself. So a lot of these people, I try to help them say, like, let me hold up a mirror. I see greatness in your eyes. Do you see it? And they're like, no. I said, okay, what can I do to show you that I believe in you? And so we tell everyone on our team, proud of them. Thank you. We pull them in side to side. We never coach out on the floor. We always coach in closed doors to help them. And then one good thing our company does is only deliver good news down. And then bad news always comes from a VP to a client or to a partner or something. We never let somebody on the team that doesn't really have a lot of experience say something happened because they don't know how to clean up the mess yet.
Right.
So we always will say, why don't you be on the call, but the lead is going to take the lead and we'll show you how we can, fix it. So I think a lot of what I wanted out of life, I had 2 parents who weren't home. They were workaholics. They were gone all the time. So I offended a lot from observing everything that was going on around me. And I said, okay, what do I want to build as a company? And then how do I do that as a good friend? And then how do I do that in good relationships? And I think it's the thing that I've learned most in my life. When I say I don't know what tomorrow looks like and I don't have it all figured out, it's not me lying. It's me just saying I'm really a believer in, like, if you just bring integrity. So integrity doesn't have an off switch. You're either in integrity or you're off. There is no dimmer switch. There's nothing here. And I just said, hey, I want this, and this is what I command, and this is what I want out of all the people on my team. And if you don't show me that, I may pull you aside one time, but I'm not going to pull you aside. Because I think integrity for me is saying what you're going to do what you say. And if not, clean up your mess as fast as possible.
Right.
If I'm running 5 minutes late, I always promise you'll always receive a message from me. I'm like, hey, I just realized I'm 5 minutes late. Normally it'll be like an hour ahead of time saying, I know I'm an hour out. Just want to let you know I'm going to be an hour in like 10 minutes. And so it's been modeled for me and I model it for my team, and my team's now modeling it back to me. And I'm getting those types of feedback and messages from like James or you or clients. Or things like, hey, I felt like we got let down. We didn't get what we deserved. And I said, great, let me know. I'll fix it. Thank you for bringing it to my attention.
Right.
Because 95% of people will never tell you that there's a problem. They'll just, because they're conditioned that instant oatmeal took time.
Right.
That was it. They didn't expect me wanted.
There's so many nuggets there, dude. I think that for anybody listening, like the feedback loops you have with your team, how you build leaders inside the company, how you don't give up on your team, the standards that you hold, like I see that reflected so much in your company. I think that's why it's grown so much. Especially in the last like 4 or 5 years, I feel like you guys have just like exploded, like in the perfect time, right? Like COVID, everyone needed shipping, everyone needed fulfillment. Like you're right there, but you had the capacity to really pounce on that because you had spent so much time building a culture in your team and you had so much experience. I mean, at that point, you already had 20 years in the business, right? So you've probably seen it all, dude. Like, so it's pretty cool. And that's the reason why I love partnering with you as like a sponsor and a person I refer to all the time, because I trust that you're going to take great care of my people and that there's not going to be an immense amount of turnover. And, you know, that's important to me. I like when I look at like you guys and ClickBank, who struck me my first check to sponsor this, like Jen Beavers did that and she's been there for 25 years, right? Like Kyle and Thomas and all those guys have been there for so long. You look at your company, Josh has been there, you know, Caleb, all these guys have been there and they keep moving up with the company and they keep getting better and better and better and they're developing other leaders. And that is something that I look for so much in a company that I want to refer people to and want to grow with, because I do see a lot of these other companies with immense amount of turnovers. And it just feels like the culture is like making money and getting messed up at, you know, like a nightclub, right? Like that's very much our whole industry though, in a lot of ways. Like that's how you celebrate. That's how you know you're doing good, is if you're taking home a fat check and you're spending on materialistic things. And while you pay your people really well and you have nice things and do that, I feel like you're far more interested, not just what I think, but what I watch you do in developing really good people and doing really high level work. And I just hope anybody who's watching or listening hasn't worked with you guys yet that wants to work with an integrous company that is fast growing, that can take them on, that's going to treat them like a person, and their team is going to stay that same team. Like that's why I always recommend you guys, because you guys just, not only have you been in business for 25 years, but you do things right from the top down. And I just have a lot of respect for that as somebody on the outside, like watching you build this company. Like it's hard, dude. It's hard to be a founder and entrepreneur, and like you're doing it right. You know, like it's really amazing. I'm really proud of you. I'm proud to have you guys here to be a part of our group.
I'm glad. We're honored to be a part of it. You know, I'll close with this review. I've been in a lot of masterminds. I've been in a lot of groups, and I see it, and it's funny because there's a lot of like, hey, it's 25 into this one, but let me into yours and let me into that one. Next thing you know, you're in like 4 different masterminds, and there isn't a mastermind like yours, you know, and there's a lot of things that, you know, through growth and feedback, you'll continue to improve and make better, but like hands down, like at the top. So all you have to do is just keep reminding yourself that, as like told you at lunch, you know, I was talking to my buddy, he's like, so what's the guy's name who runs it? I'm like, no, it's a girl. She's awesome, right? Like you're doing stuff that a lot of people are not doing. So remind yourself that you're always going to have obstacles. And I love to coach and teach people like this. When you get on the track tomorrow and you laced up sneakers and you're ready to go, the hurdles are they're tall. At the end, there'll just be steps. So you have to fall and, you know, go through that process, but you're doing it. And, you know, there's a lot of churn in masterminds. Everybody's looking for that little unicorn. And I'm like, well, what happens if you join a mastermind that had all unicorns? Well, that's yours. You got somebody that has a skill set in everything that you look for. And then like, just to be able to like, hey, I want to pour into you. I want to coach you. I want to help you. Or like our community will love on you. And then just the way you learn, like, hey, we're going to use WhatsApp. No WhatsApp this time. Or like you're learning how to like do it because you're taking feedback and you're implementing action right away. A lot of people don't like feedback because they're like, this is what I wanted. And I was like, you're like, what can I do to make it better? Because at the end, you're serving. And so that's why it was easy for us to partner, get an alignment. Because I'm like, I've watched. I see how you show up. I know that there's this deep desire to serve, and you've hurt, and you work through it, and you're in love, and watching you so, you know, happy and excited. And I remember you getting on your bike in San Diego, and you're like, oh, I'm just gonna go further. All right, okay, I'm gonna go ride my bike. And like today, it's like I'm, you know, walking, holding hands, loving my, you know, my girl, and we're having fun and around kids and everything. Life is so different. What really changes you? And that's what you built in your mastermind, is you wanted something different.
Yeah.
And you built it. So I love that. And I love the fact that you're going to learn a lot, but if you never, ever give up, you're going to win every single time.
Thanks. I get emotional thinking about it because it's crazy. Like when I was on my bike, like I wanted to die, you know, like I like rode my bike on those tracks and like in Del Mar, like a lot of times, like I was almost there, you know? So I appreciate that reflection because it's
the good thing is
hard.
Here.
Yeah.
The world needs you.
Yeah. But it's true.
We remind that if we see you, you know, going to the side a little bit,
yeah,
sort of Don't leave it in the mess, as Jim Rohn always says. You don't leave it in the mess. You help them get through it.
Yeah.
And then show them how you do it.
Yeah, that's true, dude. That's a good reflection because when you're saying it, I was like, man, it's so true. It is me that's changed.
That's it.
It's me. It's me that's changed because I had to. It's like you're faced with like life or death. It's like I had to love myself to live,
And you received enough love to help power you through those dark thoughts. And that's, when I was sitting alone in my room, apartment away from my family, sitting there, at first it was Red Bull and vodkas to go to bed. And then it was just straight vodka.
Red Bull to go to bed? Seriously?
Uppers and downers all. I could do anything.
Yeah.
I'm the guy who still can drink like 4 espressos.
Wow, it's insane.
But what I'm going to say is, if it wasn't for my friend John, who knocked on my door and told me my life had meaning and purpose, now I was living it didn't. Yeah. And if I wanted to change, he'd be there to help me. That's what I passed on.
Yeah.
So you're in good hands. I didn't mean to make you cry.
No, I cried because I'm happy. It's like you forget. It's like you forget. So that's why I think it's so important to have dear friends like you and like friends that like they hold your history. They remember like your loved ones, people who've been in your life for a long time, or the people who've been there for you. They are the record keepers, and so it's like you forget. It's like I remember riding my bike and how dark I felt.
Your friend Kai.
Yeah.
So Kai, we met at your one room, your annual, and then we just started kind of like working together a couple weeks ago. So we did this activation session this last week. He's like, lay down on the mat. I'm going to talk to you. Put your headphones on and this and that. And he showed me my future self, and then he took me to my child self. And I was crying, and I don't cry. I don't cry because I think I've been through so much, and I cry if I'm watching a movie, but I don't cry like in person. And there's a lot of trauma that I'm working through.
Yeah.
So I was like crying, and I had my little eye mask on. I'm sitting there crying, and I said, I cried because my little self, the little guys see that it's going to be okay. That's what I was crying for. That I looked at him and said, hey, it's not going to be easy.
Yeah.
But we'll get through this. Right. And we'll work through this. And that's just reaffirms like why I'm here, because my time wasn't then, it's now. And that's what everybody who's watching this is like, don't worry about what you didn't do. All those days got you to this day.
Totally.
So what do you want to create from this moment forward, and go do it? And like literally do what you need to, but don't do it alone. Because when it gets really tough, that's usually will you give up. But if you have support around you and you're honest and you're open and you feel the love and integrity and you become the best version of yourself, I promise you every day, it may not be the best day, but it'll be better. And just don't give up no matter what.
It's a beautiful way to end. Thank you. Thanks for being such a good friend to me and such a great friend to so many of us in this industry and in general. Like that is, I think, one of the reasons why you're here, because you're so great at loving all of us and holding us accountable. It's with kindness. I've never heard you do it and be cruel. And I think it can be very easy to get into that. So like, I don't know what that is. That
universe.
Yeah.
That's the vibrations.
Yeah. But you do it really well. And yeah, you love us all back to life in some way. And so I always hope to be able to do that for you. And I'm really glad that you got FOMO and decided to come.
Or fear of missing out. I even messaged to you. I knew that you weren't perfect.
I'm not feeling super great. Yeah.
So I said, let me know and I'll come. Right. Yeah. And so a lot of what I get to do is when I sense something, I take action. And we have another great philosophy at our company is that we go visit and our customers are here.
They're here.
So I'm like, why don't I come and visit my customers? Yeah. And we do that all around the world. So why not?
Well, it's a great treat for me because I love spending time with you. So thank you for being here and thank you for doing this with me.
Yeah. I hope, as my old saying goes, I hope it helps at least one person.
I'm sure it will. Thank you.
As we wrap up today's episode, we have something special just for you. If you've been inspired by what we've explored today and you're ready to take your learning to the next level, then our 4 Rooms Mastermind live event is the perfect next step. And because you're a part of our podcast family, we're offering an exclusive 10% discount on your registration when you apply and are accepted. This is your chance. It's your chance to build relationships with other ambitious entrepreneurs like yourself, to dive deeper into the 4 rooms of entrepreneurship, and to connect with experts who can truly help accelerate your growth. Simply follow the event link in the description of this episode and use the promo code 4rooms10. That's FOURROOMS10 on your application to claim this opportunity. This offer is subject to application approval and it's limited, so don't wait too long to make your decision. Join us and transform your journey with the insights and networking that only our live events can offer. Thank you for tuning in today. We look forward to seeing you at the event and, of course, right back here next time on the 4 Rooms podcast. Until then, keep balancing and keep growing.